This is a relatively quick tutorial on how to set up GitHub Desktop to work collaboratively on homework projects. I'm on the GitHub Desktop website, and basically you want to download your version either for Mac or Windows and install it. It will ask you when you install it to give information about your GitHub account. This is what the desktop looks like after it's installed. And as you can see, I was able to set it up both for my free GitHub account as well as my enterprise account through the university where I study. NC State students have access to a GitHub server. This is the location of the server, and your login is your Unity ID and password. So you just give it that. So we have desktop, and now what we want to do is we want to clone our repository so that we can see what making changes looks like. So let's close out of this and we'll go over to GitHub, which is this is what the enterprise version for NC State looks like, and just the free account looks about the same. So what we want to do is, since we're working on a project that already exists in a repository, we want to clone it. And so the way you'll do that is you'll need to find it. You're actually going to be cloning the test repository that's in my account. And if you look here, I could just go here and click on this, but since this is not what you're going to see, I'm going to go at it a different way. So up here, since we know the repository's name is test, we're going to enter test. We get 145 results, so let's slim that down a bit. So we're going to put in my username, which is SRSCHMI3. We're going to search for that, and there it is. And so now we can see it, and what we want to do is we want to click on this button, clone in desktop. Now this is only going to work if you've installed desktop, so make sure you've done that first. For this example, I'm just using a simple text file, but GitHub lets you collaborate on any number of different files. You can collaborate on MATLAB files, you can collaborate on text files, LaTeX, which is what we'll be doing, any type of programming language. It doesn't matter. You can put it all up here, and through desktop you can keep it up to date. So let's clone in desktop. We're going to go over, we're going to create a directory called test. And we can see that there's already been some activity on the master repository, and this was just when I created the repository, the remote repository, I did this. So now let's go and look at the folder this is the folder that we created, and let's see, has the same stuff we can see as the remote repository. So let's go in, open the text file. I use Atom, so that and Text Wrangler, I like them both. So let's make a change. Let's see, first change, first commit. We're gonna label that like that. We're gonna save the changes. If we close out, we go back in here. Obviously the change is made there. Let's go back and see. So now desktop says we have one uncommitted change. So the way this works is you've created a copy of this down on your local computer, and you've made a change, but what you want to do is track that you've made a change. And so we're going to put in here, when you want to commit the change to your local repository, you need to do this commit. So we'll name it first commit to local repository. So this commit to local repository is important. So let's do a quick thing. Let's go look and see what text says. We notice that the changes that we made are not there yet. And you might say, oh, when we do this commit to master, then we'll see the changes. So let's commit to master, make the changes, and now I want you to look over here and you will see that there's this open circle and then there's this circle. And if you look at these are the commits that came in from the remote repository. So basically what that's telling you is you've made a commit to your local repository, but not to the remote repository. So let's confirm that. If we go back and we'll refresh, look at test. Indeed, even though we presumably committed to master, it's not here. And that's because we committed to the local master, not to the remote master. So in order to sync the changes between your master and the remote master, you hit this sync button. Syncy, and watch this right here. And you'll notice now that's a solid dot. It says first commit. And what that indicates is that you've made this commit not only to your local master, but to the master up on the remote server. So let's look. And sure enough, we can see it. So let me show you one more thing about making changes. Let's go back to our file. And let's do a second change, add more text. Second commit, save it, go back. We see that we have this change. Name it second commit, add more language, commit to master, and you'll notice you have this undo. Let's keep track of that. We're going to go back and we're going to say third change, add some more text, third commit, save, let's go back, third commit, added more text, commit to master. Okay, now we look back up at our graphic here and we see we have a second and a third commit and neither of them have been applied to the remote master. So we look at this undo button, we realize we can undo the commit because it occurs to us that really we could just make one. So we undo the first, we undo the second. It shows both our changes as still being uncommitted. It says one uncommitted change because it sort of merged them. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to name this second commit. We undid third and just committed a second time. So before I do that, I want to go back. I want to show that your test.txt kept these changes. If you wanted to actually get those changes out of test.txt, you'd actually have to go back and delete them. So but we don't want to. We want to make them. So we're going to commit these to master. Now we have a second commit here. Again, it's not been applied to the remote master, which we will check. And as you can see, only the first commit appears. So let's go back. We'll sync our files. The little magic mergy dot thing will happen. And voila. Now it says that it should be in our remote repository. We will go. And booyah, there it is. So there can be some conflicts that happen if you have multiple people working on it. For instance, say somebody makes a change and you've committed, makes a change to their local repository, syncs it up, but you haven't synced back since your changes. That can create some discrepancies that you have to deal with, but I'll show you how to deal with those in the next video where I'll talk about branches, which is a good way to have different people working on it and sort of working on a project and then merging the changes in the end. Thanks for your time. I hope this is helpful. Look for my video on branches, and ciao for now.